Hey, what's going on, guys? Donnie coming to you from Pinku Style in South Japan. Today we're going to be going on the road, taking the engine down to the machine shop. You guys know I do a lot of RB stuff here. So we got RB26 right here, the block, crank, and the head is going to go down to the machine shop for machining. So let's go ahead and get this thing loaded up, starting with the lightest part. It's going to be the head. So again, guys, once we get on the road, I'll give you some hints and tips about engine building. First thing is transportation. I have a very soft padded thing here, so you want to make sure everything is padded. As you see right here is a very thick pad for the head to sit on. So as you're taking the engine down and stuff like that, this transportation, you want to make sure everything's good to go, nothing sloshing around. I like the crank is going to be only polished, but I like to take the griddle here so the crank will sit inside of it and everything. So this is going to be a standard build, standard bearings, so it's not going to need any oversizing, so I don't have to keep the griddle in there. Just put that up in there in the back. Yeah. And then finally, we get the block and throw it in there. And I don't use lifts, man. These blocks are not that heavy, so if they're heavy to you, you need to go in and get in the gym. So before I put the block in there, this is guys come to me for like head gaskets and stuff like this. This is the reason why when the head gaskets needed on RB26. As you can see right here, that's like kind of like the metal here. All this other shit right there, you try to go and use a scraper to get that down in there. This the biggest thing for RB26, 25s or whatever. It's going to be this feed to the block to the head. So imagine if you get a bunch of gunk down in there, and now you're not getting oil to your camshafts and things like that. So that's why you don't do the backyard shit and scrape it down in there. It's going to go down all these holes, and you'll have all that stuff coming out of here on your cooling jackets and things like that. So it's going to get this guy in there. I forgot how heavy this thing is, but it's about, feels like about 100 and maybe 80 pounds, 200 pounds maybe. It's not that bad though. Just get that thing in there. Go. There we go. Cool. Just want to talk kind of leisurely about the setup and everything and what I do and stuff like that. So again, just before we get into the engine stuff, all engine stuff applies. It doesn't matter, diesel, piston, rotary, especially rotary, because rotary is less moving parts, so you really can't get anything wrong. You don't want to get anything wrong with any engine build, so that's kind of doesn't really need to be stated. So the when it comes to engine building, everybody's going to say different things pretty much, but there's not really too many ways to skin a cat. I got my process, and my process has done me very well. I haven't had any engines that I built myself as a result of tuning or whatever go down. So I've had, after the fact, I've had a couple customers after the fact, they get an engine built and they go and do like a little bit of changes, and these are catastrophic changes done more so when the engine is freshly built. So I'll run down the stages just like how I do it. What's going to happen. So this stage right here is called stage 2. So this is machining. So stage 1 has already taken place. Before you get into any engine building, the biggest thing you want to make sure is cleanliness. Like organization and cleanliness is key. I'm talking to you guys more so as customers. This is not a how-to. I'm just telling you my process a little bit, how to build engines and what you should be looking out for. If you can't come to my shop or another shop that's reputable. So when you go to first, when you're looking to get building an engine, do not buy any parts. This is one thing that a lot of shops they'll kind of tolerate to get the job, but I'm a stickler on that. So if you already bought some parts, I kind of tell the customers to stop there, don't buy anything else until after I do the inspection, because the inspection is going to tell what size bearings you need, your clearance levels, if your crankshaft is damaged, if your crankshaft is out of round, a lot of different things. So a lot of people assume because the engine is running, it's good, but what happens a lot of times with the cranks, the bearings and everything work themselves in, so they go out of round. So what happens is the bearing itself becomes oblong, and then what happens if you put a brand new bearing in there and the crush is different, the space is different, and you go to torque that thing down and you go to spin it, you notice you get a little bit of hesitation. I know because it's happened to me personally on some personal engines a while ago, and I had to learn the hard way. So don't go buying a bunch of parts after you do your inspection. So that's the first thing coming through my shop. So after you do the inspection should be sit down. It should be talking about all the stuff that's going to go down. all the fines and everything, and if everything's good to go, you can proceed with a standard build. If you got to go like 0.25 over or 5 over overboard on the pistons, then you'll do that. So just don't go and buy a bunch of parts, get excited and then know that you're not going to install it. So that's the biggest thing. If you're gonna build it yourself, and then you get into a part where you feel like you can't do it, then you go to a shop, then they'll probably deal and say, let's check the parts, have you installed anything, so on and so forth, and go from there. But if you've already built something, if you're already like in the process of not doing it, don't buy anything. This is the best thing to give the shop for advising, and that's the very most critical thing, because the foundation is there. So just like you build a computer, the motherboard is the foundation, and you get your RAM, you get your processor, you get all your different things that's built upon the motherboard. So if you got a motherboard that can't support IC7, or it can't support something with a big processor, then you're screwed. So from that aspect, and this let me go back again. I'm kind of speeding again. I'm taking a good drive here. Just let me slow down a little bit. So when you get, you should do your homework. Do your homework about who you're going to take your engine to. I mean, I'm talking about like examples, videos, blah, blah, blah. In a day of social media, cameras on almost every application, every device, a shop not having images and stuff like that. I mean, granted, maybe it was an old school guy shop and he just don't do it, and his name speaks. You can go from that. But if it's a newer shop like one of mine, like I'm having social media to back myself up, and also to give that information to the customers so they can share it, sell a car, do what they got to do, and it works out great. I've had a lot of cars sold based on the images that I capture and everything. And what I'll do, in that bottom of the description, I'll drop a link to one of my customers' builds. You can go through it and see yourself what I do from start to finish. Every build's the same way. Even if it's oversized, it's the same way. All right, so going back to the build portion of it, when you do your homework on the shop, the shop's not Fort Knox. You should definitely be able to get in there and see the shop, how it looks. When you look around the shop and then you see other people shit on the ground, you see the shop's out of order, there's oil and shit everywhere, it looks, like it looks dirty, like I wouldn't take my shit there. I don't care how good the final product is. Whatever the shop looks like, if the shop looks like that, you can guarantee that the inside of your engine is gonna look like that too. So you just gotta take those cues and notes, man, like how professional guys already deal with you. Don't be afraid of stern shops. I'm a very stern shop, but I don't make that, I don't try to hide that. There's not too many ways to skin a cat, and if guys want to do things their way, it almost always ends in a fucking nightmare, and I'm not going to deal with that as a shop owner. So look around the shop, see how everything looks, if they got any builds and process. Generally, if it's an engine build shop, they're going to have some engine somewhere. So, not saying you're not an inspector, so as a customer, you're not inspecting the process, so don't do that, because I don't allow people to do that either. I'll show them a little bit of stuff, but then we got to get moving. Like, you're not IG. And that, guys in the military know what IG is, Inspector General. So from there, look around, take some cues, before you get into spending money there. If you get an inspection done, you decide to do it yourself, and do that. So now, say, all right, you're doing the machine work. Right now, we went to the machine shop right now to get the head resurfaced, get some hashing, honing, get like some other stuff done as well. So once that gets back, we get into stage 3, which is the build. Stage 4 is tuning. So the build itself, once you get back and everything, again, cleanliness, organization is key. Like I have separate sections in my shop. I have a breakdown section and I have a build section. Those sections they're like sterile. I keep the build section, I don't do nothing in their build engine. So I keep that table clean. I keep everything off of there. Bolts, organization, and things are there. Everything is good to go. So organization, again, this is what your shop should be doing. So when you go there, if they got a build going on, they should be using bags. Like it shouldn't be a box of nuts and bolts and everything. So if you haven't got this yet, I'm putting this video out there yet because I want you guys to kind of get an idea of how I do things and why you need to come to me versus other people. So, what I mean? It's, this is marketing, this is business, and, survival of the fittest. So I'm not out there trying to play a nice guy, fuck all that. Like, what I mean? When I have guys local to me, they go to other shops, without even considering me, when I see these guys, I ask them, hey man, so like for my own PR, like, so why did you have to go, 5, 6, 7 hours away from here to get the same fucking process? You know what I'm saying? So I check guys like that too, because that's what I do, and it's me monitoring my business and things like that. So Anyway, the process again is very simple for the engine build. You want to make sure that you're doing things in steps. The steps also allows customers to spread out their money a little bit too. So again, the first stage, if I'm pulling the engine out, you're going to be charged for pulling the engine out, inspection, and my breakdown and cleaning and all that stuff like that. Stage 2, machine work. I got to take it to there, so you're going to get charged for me to take it there, and also I got to pay the machine work. I pay my machinist upfront because he's spot on. If there's something else that needs to be done, of course we'll settle up with that. But my guy's spot on. He gets everything done and it gets it back to me relatively quickly. So I also had a reservation for this as well. So as you guys see, I put out reservations, and the shops that I go to use reservations as well. That way, I'm not taking it there. I don't want my customers' engine block is sitting around getting airborne, rusty shit like that on it. So I take it down there when it's ready, and it also gets me back quicker. So I should have this back in 3 to 4 days, if not sooner. From that point, we get to the build portion, or it just sits. So once I get it back and everything's confirmed good, all the stuff is good to go. From that point, I've already told the customer, hey, we can order standard pistons, standard size bearings, and whatever else you want to do. So one note I need to make with engine building, because it's confused a few people. When you build an engine, you're building normally it's separated between a top and a bottom. The short block and the head. The head is a whole different stratosphere. The block is a whole different stratosphere. They come together to make the magic happen. So when you got when you're doing the bottom end, while that's being machined or whatever, the head work is its own thing. So for me, from cleaning, from getting stuff out, organization, a head is a day and a half ordeal for to pull the valves out, inspect all those, make sure those retainers not cracked, do the valve seals, check the guides, all that stuff like that. A little bit of port matching, not going crazy. I can do polishing, so polishing and getting that stuff with your builder. But generally, most guys I run into, they're not really needing that. And if you need that, I can do an in-house polish, basic one. You don't want to have it too polished mirror, because there's no way for the fuel to atomize when it hits the side of the head. So when that fuel is pumped in, you guys look up the more stuff we're not really doing in school here. But when that fuel is pumped in, it hits the side of the wall, breaks up atomize. So if it's too smooth, it'll just hit that wall and slide down, and then you'll get a bunch of stuff in there. So there's a lot of different things in there. A lot of guys are doing like the dimples with look like a golf ball, and that helps the atomization further. I haven't done that personally, so I can't speak on that. But again, a lot of guys are doing a lot of things that they don't really need to do, and it comes down to the customer, what the customer wants, and what the builder wants, and what the builder wants to do. All right, so you get to that point, you get the engine assembled. Again, at this point, everything's already measured, so it's just assembly putting it together. Now it comes to tuning. If you're doing standard cams, standard whatever, overhaul by itself doesn't require a tune. So if your tuner's pushing you that shit, it's BS. Now if you're going with bigger, a different, say change the volume, you're going 2 sizes over the normal size, then yeah, you're gonna need a little tune there, because your engine is built based off, let's say the RB26, 86 millimeter. If you get an 86.5 where you go over and over, then the actual diameter changes, the pressures are going to change, your pressure ratio is going to change, your head gasket thickness, if you go with a 1, a 1.2, 1.3, so forth and so on, that's going to change your crush, the deck height, different things like that. When you're doing the machining, you're doing the actual decking for the actual block, for the head, you got to take that into account, because if you're shaving that off, let's say you shave it off, you should go on a metal head gasket anyway. But if you put let's say you put another standard gasket back on there and it gets rebuilt again, you got to shave it off again. So now you don't change your deck height. It doesn't make a little minute millimeters, but those millimeters make a difference, because now your belt tightness is different. So the tightness of the belt's going to change. Your tension's going to change when you're revving up. Now that belt got a little bit of deflection. Now you're getting things going. It's going to flop around. You already know the cast. Cast is good to a certain amount of horsepower, but one of the biggest things that have with high horsepower builds is the cast actually, when the belt moves around, it kind of goes back and forth a little bit, and the cast also starts to go back and forth, so it's going forward and backwards at the same time. So you can imagine it's kind of, instead of being a smooth, continuous motion, it's kind of going back and forth. So what's happening on your timing, you throw a timing light down on your crank pulley, you notice your timing mark will never be smooth. It'll be kind of moving back and forth like that. That is bad. You don't want timing to float. You don't want timing to travel, so to speak. So you want to make sure all that stuff is good to go. So you gotta take that in. Your builder has to take that into consideration when he's building. Hey, has this been built before? Is this brand new? So the one I got behind me, brand new, is a great base. I mean, the engine was really damn clean inside. Camshafts looked like, you know what I mean, it was whoever had this engine before took care of it. Got it from my engine shop down in South in Aichi, and good compression all the way around. So those are the best kind of builds where you got a good slate. You don't want to. I don't really, honestly, personally like building engines that's been blown already, because it's going to cost more. And I tell the guys it's better to get even an engine that has low compression, one that's not blown is not blown. Blown is just brought on top of the block, but spun bearing or camshaft damage or something like that. It's going to make the build more difficult, and it's going to cost you more money. So you got to weigh that yourself. What you want to do, get a better base, start from there, or repair that engine. So before you get to building, you got to get to repairs. So the engine build itself is gonna dictate. The engine's going to tell you what it needs as a builder, and it's going to tell the builder's going to tell you as a customer what you need to get done. So again, it's not a process. Sorry, a lot of guys try to make the process like NASA level to make it seem like justified you're going to get paid. That's one thing I don't do. A customer, they just need to know how much it's going to cost to do the job, and I don't need to try to make the job more difficult or whatever to make money. You're going to pay me regardless to come to my shop. That's how it's going to work. I'm going to tell you, hey, it's going to take me 16 hours to do this. You're going to pay me for 16 hours for labor, my consumables, and my time. That's how it's going to work. I'm not going to try to prove to you or make it seem like it's more difficult or make it go longer. So in a nutshell, on average, between inspections, between machine work, buying the parts, waiting for the parts to come, assembly, plans are generally done within a month, and that's pretty quick. If everything goes bam, 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 and all of everything's good to go, the customer's paid up front for the parts and everything's ready. I've ordered it as soon as I conduct my inspection, and I don't need anything oversized, I order the parts immediately. The customer comes and do the inspection. By the time we do the inspection, I give them the results. We've already ordered the parts, so the parts are already en route. So the machine work is going to happen. I take the machine work, the engineer. Generally, before COVID, I would do everything within 3 days. I would have the car in one day. Next day, I would have the engine out, or the same day, depending on how my timing is. And then do the inspection, and the third day, I would have it down to the machine shop. So from there, it's in the machine shop, get done. It's normally there 3 days, back to me. Parts are probably maybe a few days out. Once the parts gets in, I've already conduct my cleaning. Cleaning is done. Pistons are put together, assembled. Make sure to check them, make sure I'm doing my piston rings, make sure those going down. So piston rings is a big thing too. So if you get NA is different. If you're supercharged, turbo, there's a difference. And there's a little bit of, you can do the deflection there and everything. There's different things to do. So your builder can build a standard type of ring gap all the way down, top to bottom, or you can go off the recommended specifications of the actual CP pistons or whatever you want to use for the pistons. One thing you don't want to get into is using like your standard specs for a standard piston ring, because it's not a standard piston anymore. So you want to follow the manufacturer's recommended specs off of the aftermarket part you got, unless you look at the directions and the direction says specifically on there to go back and refer to the actual OEM manual for the information, because it saves them time on writing it up. And also, if it's going to be the same procedures, why go ahead and waste the money and time and paper on printing that stuff out when it's going to be the same thing? So, it is what it is. That stuff, again, we're a little bit ways from the engine shop. Once you get to the engine shop, I'll walk around there, drop the engine off, and then get out of there and speak a little bit more and wrap this video up. So let's go ahead and continue on the engine shop, and I'll see you in a second. All right, so we made it to Sakamoto Boring shop, pulling up here in Hachinohe. Before I get a bunch of questions asking where it's at, I don't give it out. If you guys know where it is, you know where it is. If not, you get with me to get the engines built, because I've had too many issues with guys coming here, bringing engines and shit here, not picking them up, and they always use my name, and it's not cool. And so I don't do that. So if you want to get an engine built or anything, or machine work, get with me. I'll get it down there. If not, just can't get the work done. So I'm going to shut this off, get this over here, see my guy Yoshinobu.
Ooh. So again, oh, Genki, YouTube video. Daijoubu.
Okay.
Genki.
Genki.
Arigatou. So that's Sakamoto-san, father, and father and son there. So only no, so only holding. So this polish, and so boring every normal. Bore up nine. So niroku standard hachiroku. Only this honing normal. Hit resurface. Resurface, then block resurface, then cylinder honing, and then polish.
Okay.
Already, this is a San, so already oil drive already extended. So oil drive daijoubu. Remember, San always oil crank. So this San, so already daijoubu, already long crank. So this polish. General polish. That's it. Just cocoa polish. Hi. So I get the Tomodachi. I come back from America. The America, Japan, Shinkansen, Shikoki, dame. So America, then Haneda, then driving Misawa, then. But number plate change. Mori number plate change because my car now. So keep. So my so Jumon. So parts. No, next time I bring new sticker. Next time I bring. Sticker. So stickers. Watashi change. Many Ogyak-san coming from Yokohama. Yokota. So machine shop Naprik. But they say Misawa no Misawa always Sakamoto Boring. Then Sakamoto Boring watashi MX bike. MX two-stroke engine or motorcycle daijoubu. Okay. Many new Tomodachi motorcycles. So watashi motocross. So mini bikes. So maybe overhaul. So maybe I do motorbike building now. Small engine. So this machine here is resurface. This machine
ボーディングと、まあ、免許。
うん。
免許専用機だと一番大きい。
Ah, so good, so good, so good. So guys, they're just like YouTube guys. So the guys you see right here is just a pretty small shop, but they got a lot of stuff back there. So normally they're working like more so truck engine, truck oki size. So this shop is it's like this. So guys, this shop they normally work on. So this Yoshinobu, this is my lead machinist. So he does a lot of stuff. So one thing you guys see is they have like a lot of the torque plates they put on the engines right there for they do the boring. So the dummy plates, boring stuff right there. So those are the plates they put on the cylinder head, and they torque them down and make sure when they're doing the boring that it's not the standing circle is not deflecting. So dummy heads and stuff like that is what those guys have. So I got my own at the shop, and I do that. So they do a lot of stuff. So as you can see, really thick gauge, really thick metal, and this part is like broken. So they made this. So you make. So they do a lot of machining. So if I need stuff like that, plates, I can bring something here, and they can like reduplicate this. Because this part, no more making that show. Factory can't buy, can't order janai. So old kuruma parts nai. So making. Yeah. So a lot of these parts you can't buy from the store no more. So they have to make. So they do the plasma cutting here, then the bolt holes and drilling and all that. So really cool stuff. So again, if you guys got any crazy builds, like you need anything crazy, I can definitely get it done here with the machine shop. And it's gonna cost you, but we could definitely get it done. So I got those on us. So we do that. So there's the RB26 again. The head's gonna be resurfaced. The crank's gonna be polished again. This is the R33 GTR crank. So the R33 and 34 crank already have the extended collar, so they don't have to do that. And then they hit the block. It's gonna be 86 millimeter, and just gonna be resurfaced. And then once I get it back, I'll be putting the restrictor in there. So this restrictor is too big, so more oil goes in the head, and then that's what happens at higher RPM. So this guy right here prevents you guys from having to change the actual back block or the freeze plug in the back of the block here. A lot of guys will take this out in the back here and let the oil drain out. So that's the old school way to actually do it. We don't do that no more. So we just changed that. So I'm gonna get out of here and let Yoshinobu and his dad and everybody do their work. So it's gonna be small size down.
Small size. こっちね。
そうか。Plastic. Rubber.
Rubber.
Well, I'm gonna wrap the video from down here, guys. I gotta go and do some other stuff so I can go back to the shop actually. So again, this is Sakamoto Boring right here, right in Hachinohe. You guys know where you're at. I passed the auto box, is right there. See my fingers like right there. So I'm gonna head back to Misawa, get some other stuff done, jam out. Still waiting on some parts for Amy's car and Carl's car. We gotta put the arms back on and everything because we're still waiting on that. So I wanna test things out, get the brake setup finished. And then we'll get to the, so you guys are waiting on a day 3 or day 4? No, you're waiting on day 4. So once day 4 is completed, I'll get that video out, and then maybe day 4 and day 5 I'll merge together, which is going to be the finalizing of the suspension settings and then the track test. The weather out here, today is November 19th, and man, it's normally like cold as hell during this point. And look, Thanksgiving is soon, so normally like guys here in November 15th, they gotta put on snow tires. So I need to put snow tires on my cars and everything. So again, I'm gonna get back up to Misawa, get some work done. See you guys later. Again, thanks you guys for signing in and subscribing and good stuff like that. And it's gonna be Donnie signing off from Hachinohe, Japan, Hachinohe Amori. See you guys later. Peace.